Hi and good evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I am Amibuddham. Now the latest headlines from world channels and news agencies.
Reported CBS News headquarters in New York. This is the CBS Evening News.
The flu goes viral. Good evening. I'm Maurice Dubois.
I'm John Dickerson. The flu is doing what viruses do, especially this time of year. It's spreading. But we're beginning with this story tonight because it is spreading more rapidly than usual.
This is shaping up as the worst flu season in more than 15 years since the swine flu pandemic of 2009. Take a look at the map. There are flu cases now in every state in the union, but the virus is most active in these 43, which have 97% of the U.S. population.
Those states with a high rate of flu include Indiana, and Janet Shamlian is in South Bend. Janet?
Good evening. As we made our way around the middle of the country reporting this week, we heard from doctors and nurses who told us that this year's flu season is hitting harder than any since before the pandemic. And that was certainly true when we visited Louisville. In the emergency room at Louisville's Norton Children's Hospital, we found the staff treating a surge of pediatric flu patients.
We've had more than 1,800.
Tonight, the breaking news and the missing plane mystery along the coast of Alaska.
Radar contact lost 2 to 5 miles east Nome, Dior.
The desperate search with 10 people believed to be on board. The Coast Guard exploring the freezing waters in snowy and icy conditions. A plane matching the description of the plane just located. Just in, the federal judge halting President Trump's efforts to gut USAID's workforce. Crews physically removing the sign off its headquarters. It's just part of the president's sprawling plan to downsize the federal government, eyeing education and the military next. Trump also delaying tariffs on small packages from China and saying he will fire some of the FBI agents who worked on January 6 investigations. Direct strike, the mother and daughter killed in a winter tornado, and now 2 more powerful storms lining up behind it. 80 million under winter storm alerts. The intense new body cam showing heroic nursing home rescues as the Eden fire closed in. 1 month later, how did it start? A new video may hold the answers. Ahead of the big game, the buzz about non-alcoholic beer. Our Christine Romans puts the brews surging in popularity to the test. And the good news, how tragedy on Bourbon Street sparked more than one act of kindness.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Tonight, as we come on the air, this new storm now, millions bracing from the Midwest right into the Northeast again. Treacherous driving expected when this hits. Also breaking the urgent search for a plane that vanished in bad weather. There are reports coming in right now that it's now been found. And just in tonight, the federal judge pausing what President Trump and Elon Musk are trying to do at USAID. First tonight, that plane vanishing in bad weather, the desperate search all day today, and just moments ago, now the reports coming in, it has been found. The runway had been shut down, the rapid drop in altitude, and what we know about this crash. This dangerous winter storm heading again, moving right into the Midwest, then sweeping into the Northeast. The alert's up right now, heavy snow, ice, rain, Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia, New York to Boston, and there will be snow. Lee Goldberg has the forecast. Just in tonight, a federal judge blocking President Trump and Elon Musk's plans at USAID for now. And the moment at the White House today when the president was asked about Elon Musk and this new image on Time magazine's cover, Musk behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office, amid questions over Musk's true role. And the president was asked if Musk has been told if anything is off limits. How he answered. Tonight, the reporter covering the Super Bowl found dead in his hotel room. A woman now under arrest tonight. What authorities have now revealed, and the other cases involving sports stars and those high-profile burglaries. Tonight, the images of suspects posing with quarterback Joe Burrow's stolen watches and jewelry. In New York City tonight, the new concern over bird flu. New York's governor now shutting down live poultry markets in the Bronx, in Brooklyn, in Queens, amid concerns from California to Nevada to New York, what they're seeing. Tonight, outside Philadelphia, the alarming video showing a commuter train engulfed in flames. Passengers say the train passed by multiple stops while on fire. The medical breakthrough, the kidney transplant from a pig to a human, saving a 66-year-old patient, what we've learned. And the Super Bowl rematch, the Chiefs versus the Eagles. Will Reeve flies us over the Superdome tonight. The teams are ready, the fans are ready. And Travis Kelce's mom used to wear that split jersey, but Jason Kelce has retired, so is there still any Eagles love? And Philadelphia looking to keep the Chiefs from making history.
You'll be okay with it somehow.
ABC News World Headquarters in New York. This is World News Tonight.
Oh, I think she'll be okay with it somehow.
So, Democratic lawmakers are really upset that those engineers have access to these treasury payment systems. The Senate Intel Dems wrote a letter to the wild. They're saying that these systems are used to disperse trillions of dollars each year and contain everyday Americans' personal information like social security numbers, home addresses, bank accounts. Why does DOJ need all of that?
Well, it doesn't, but they get it very easily. I mean, we don't have very good security in our country, and they get it very easily. And what we're doing, if you look at what has just taken place with respect to some of the investments that have been made on another agency that people have been talking about for years, but nobody did anything about it, it's absolutely obscene, dangerous, bad, very costly. I mean, virtually every investment made is a con job. There's nothing of value to anybody unless there's a kickback scheme going on, which is possible. And we're going to be doing more and more of that. We're going to be looking at Department of Education. We're going to be looking at even our military. We're going to be looking at tremendous amounts of money, Peter, being spent on things that bear no relationship to anything and have no value. We're talking about trillions of dollars. It will be, in the end, trillions of dollars being absolutely wasted, and perhaps illegally. I would say certainly in many cases illegally, but perhaps illegally overall. And I'm very proud of the job that this group of young people, generally young people, but very smart people, they're doing. They're doing it at my insistence. It would be a lot easier not to do it. But we have to take some of these things apart to find the corruption. We found tremendous corruption.
You mentioned the Department of Education. What did you think when you saw Democratic lawmakers trying to get into the Department of Education earlier today?
Oh, I see the same ones. I see Maxine Waters, a lowlife. I see, all these people. They don't love our country. They don't love our country. We want great education. So they rank 40 countries in education. We're ranked dead last. But the good news is we're number one in one category. You know what that is? Cost per pupil. We spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. You look at Norway, Denmark, Sweden, various countries all up and down, Finland. China does very well in education. And then you look at us. We spend much more money than they do per pupil or any other way. But we spend much more money than they do, and yet we're ranked this year. Biden's last year, congratulations, Joe, we're ranked dead last. So what I want to see is education. Number one, I like choice. We all like choice. But beyond choice, long beyond choice, I want to see it go back to the states where great states that do so well have no debt. They're operated brilliantly. They'll be as good as Norway or Denmark or Sweden or any of the other highly ranked countries. They'll be, probably have 35 to 38 states.
Friday night, the Prime Minister caught on a hot mic why Justin Trudeau said the U.S. president's threat to annex Canada is no joke. Is Canadians sour on their southern neighbors?
The worst criticisms have been much worse than that and have contained words that cannot be repeated.
We'll visit one border community where tariffs are the talk of the town.
How can it help the economy? It won't.
Deadly pileup, the collision involving dozens of vehicles on a snowy highway. Plus, answering an age-old question, what this 4 billion-year-old asteroid reveals about how life on Earth began.
Global National, reporting tonight. Jeff Semple.
Good morning, I'm Oliver Farry, and this is Daybreak. The fifth hostage prisoner exchange between Hamas and Israel is set to take place Saturday. 3 male Israeli hostages held in Gaza since October 7th, 2023 should be on their way home, while 183 Palestinian prisoners will be released by Israel. The United Nations Human Rights Chief warns that the violence in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo could spiral beyond the region. Volker Turk calls on all with influence on the parties involved to redouble their efforts to avoid a large-scale conflict. And Paris gears up for a major international conference on artificial intelligence. The 2-day AI Action Summit, co-chaired by France and India, kicks off on Monday and aims to ensure AI development does not unfold without ethical and regulatory oversight.
Good evening to you, 11:01 exactly. The top story from the newsroom tonight. The government has confirmed Grenfell Tower will be dismantled nearly 8 years after a fire sadly killed 72 people. The process will take around 2 years and is being done sensitively, with no changes made before June's anniversary of the disaster. The decision follows warnings that the damaged building is deteriorating and only remains stable due to protective measures. Local people and survivors, though, are divided. Some want the tower to remain as a memorial, while others say it's too distressing. Officials have said that key materials will be preserved, though, for a potential memorial if the community wishes. On day 19 of Donald Trump's second term in office, Japan has committed to doubling its defense spending by 2027. At a joint news conference earlier, Trump pledged the full strength of American defense to its ally as both nations ramp up cooperation against China and tackle North Korea's nuclear ambitions. Japan's prime minister promised $1 trillion of investment in the US, calling it unprecedented. Both leaders also vowed to take a lead in the AI, semiconductor and energy development sectors across the Indo-Pacific. Hamas has named the next hostages to be freed in Gaza this weekend, including 3 men. They are Eli Sharabi, Ohad Ben-Ami and Or Levy. 18 hostages have been released so far, with Israel freeing 383 Palestinian prisoners in return. By the end of this first ceasefire stage, 33 hostages and 1,900 prisoners are expected to be released, though Israel says 8 of those hostages are dead. Meanwhile, Hamas has accused Israel of blocking critical humanitarian aid, a claim disputed by the United Nations. Here, a new poll is predicting a 3-way tie at the next general election, with Labour cabinet ministers set to lose their seats and Nigel Farage holding the balance of power. A survey of almost 6,000 people found Reform UK would have 175 seats, Labour would drop from 412 to 174, and the Conservatives would gain around 50. Wes Streeting, Yvette Cooper and Angela Rayner would be among those to lose their seats, with the Conservative and Reform coalition the most likely outcome if an election was held tomorrow. And royal news, the King and Queen have been hosting a black-tie dinner at Highgrove tonight to celebrate Italian cuisine, joined by stars including Victoria and David Beckham and Stanley Tucci. Guests enjoyed a feast featuring British-sourced ingredients like Scottish crab and Isle of Wight tomatoes. Well, now you know. Tucci, a well-known foodie, inspired the menu, which embodied the slow food philosophy that King Charles has long championed. And special martinis were made with herbs from Highgrove Gardens served alongside the meal. The event also highlighted sustainable slow fashion, with students showcasing their garment skills. What a way to spend Friday night. Those are the latest headlines. Plenty more still to come with Headliners.
This is Sky News, the headlines. The courts weigh in on the US president's attempts to dismantle America's aid agency.
The whole thing is a fraud. Very little being put to good use.
Also ahead, the shadow of Grenfell to loom no longer, with confirmation the tower will be demolished.
It's comforting for me that the tower is still up, because it's a sense of, I don't know, it feels like, in a way, like their souls are still there, they're still in the community, they're still with us.
Hamas names the latest hostages set to be released as part of the Gaza ceasefire deal. Plus, concerns by privacy campaigners over reports the government is demanding access to Apple users' private data. Hello, good morning.
Today, monsoonal rains and flash flooding wreaks havoc across North Queensland.
There remains the prospect of rivers continuing to rise and fall, and therefore the road situation remains very, very volatile.
US Cabinet supportive of the AUKUS agreement, according to Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth. Hamas names 3 hostages to be released today after accusing Israel of breaching the ceasefire terms. And voting underway in 2 Melbourne by-elections, marking a major test for the Allan Labor government. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Meredith Sheehan.
Headline news this hour. U.S. President Donald Trump aims to cut the two countries' trade deficit in his first meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. No sign, though, that the key ally will be spared from the U.S. leader's latest tariff threats.
I'll be announcing that next week, reciprocal trade, so that we're treated evenly with other countries.
Counting underway in the Indian capital for this week's Delhi Assembly elections. Early trends show Prime Minister Narendra Modi's BJP leading ahead of the incumbent Aam Aadmi Party. The results will determine the national capital's political trajectory over the next 5 years. And unrest in Bangladesh as authorities warn of stern actions as mobs vandalize and destroy a house belonging to ousted leader Sheikh Hasina, as well as other buildings linked to her. And that is the latest from the CNN newsroom.
United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has issued a special appeal for peace in the Democratic Republic of Congo, warning that the humanitarian situation in Goma is dire as thousands have been killed and hundreds of thousands displaced due to the ongoing violence.
Thousands of people have been killed, including women and children, and hundreds of thousands have been forced from their homes in the eastern DRC. We also see the continuous threats by other armed groups, either Congolese or foreign. All of this is having an enormous human toll. We have countless reports of human rights abuses, including sexual and gender-based violence, forced recruitment, and the disruption of life-saving aid. The humanitarian situation in and around Goma is perilous.
Despite a unilateral ceasefire declaration by Rwandan-backed rebels, Congo's government has dismissed it as false communication, citing continued fighting in other areas. Guterres condemned the human rights abuses.
Silence the guns. Stop the escalation. Respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Uphold international human rights law and international humanitarian law. There is no military solution.
Guterres will travel to Addis Ababa next week for AU Peace and Security Council Summit, where discussions on restoring stability in the Great Lakes region are expected to take center stage.
Hundreds of Somalis assembled in the Peace Garden in Mogadishu to express their solidarity with Palestinians. Many waved Palestinians' flags and held banners that read, "Gaza is not for sale," and "Somali stands with Palestine." They condemned Trump's suggestions that Gaza residents should move to countries like Egypt and Jordan. Our brothers in Palestine have suffered repeatedly, and for President Trump to say that Gaza should move to other countries is a complete trap. Trump wants to ensnare the Muslims in Gaza, and that is why we are here. We will not accept this. The demonstrations in Mogadishu reflect the increasing regional dissent against Trump's position on Gaza, along with widespread appeals for global support for Palestinians. Trump's decision is ironic and undermines justice. It sides with aggressors and violates the rights of those who fought for independence for many years. Instead of supporting their struggles and independence, he goes against them and supports their enemy, ordering them to leave their land. This is something we cannot accept, and as Somalis, we view this as a profound injustice. Trump has issued an executive order that permits economic and travel sanctions against people who work on international criminal court investigations of U.S. citizens or U.S. allies such as Israel.
The Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has rejected any future negotiations with the United States. He claimed any negotiations will be deemed not intelligent, wise, not honorable. Ayatollah's remarks were made after President Donald Trump floated nuclear talks with Tehran. We negotiated, we made concessions, we backed down, but we didn't get the results we wanted. And the other side didn't even honor the 2015 deal. With all its shortcomings, it ruined, breached, and tore apart the agreement. One should negotiate with such government. Negotiating with them is not wise, not smart, not honorable. Khamenei further threatened to retaliate if the United States will place any sort of sanctions against Tehran. If the Americans threaten us, we will threaten them. If they carry out their threats, we will carry out ours. The remarks came after Trump suggested he wanted to deal with Tehran even while signing an executive order to reimpose his maximum pressure approach to Iran on Tuesday.
Real Madrid is already looking ahead despite a challenging start to the season, which has been affected by injuries and the integration of Kylian Mbappé. A significant concern is Vinicius Jr., who has faced criticism in Spain and has not performed well lately. Reports suggest that he is contemplating a massive offer from Saudi Arabia, valued at €1 billion over 5 years. The major twist is that if Vinicius chooses to depart, Real Madrid will not stand in his way and could potentially earn over €220 million, setting a new record. Should he leave, Mbappé would step into the spotlight as the main figure in Real's strategy, taking over the left wing. The club will then seek a top striker to partner with him. Initially, Erling Haaland was the top target for Florentino Perez, but the Norwegian contract extension complicates that pursuit.
Thank you for sparing your precious time. This is Amir Shakil. Have a good life. Bye-bye.